So let's talk about the importance of pelvic floor during and after your pregnancy. Now, up until this point, if this is your first pregnancy, you may not have given your pelvic floor much thought. In fact, you've probably taken it for granted when you're hop, skipping and jumping around everywhere. But obviously, as you start to get a little bit bigger during your pregnancy and the pressure that the baby puts down onto your pelvic floor, it is going to start to become quite high up in your thought process. So previously you wouldn't have given much thought. You could run, jump, hop and skip. Now during your pregnancy, the advice that we give now about pelvic floor is yes, to start to be aware of it, but don't overdo it. You can oversensitize your pelvic floor. You can overdo it. So your pelvic floor is a hammock of muscles. It is your diamond, ladies. It sits underneath here. It covers from the front and connects to the back. So the pubic bone all the way round to the coccyx. That is your hammock of muscles. Now, if you overdo your pelvic floor during pregnancy, what you've got to think about is that's where the baby's coming out, okay? And if that muscle's really, really tight and the baby's head's trying to get through, but the muscle's too tight, then that baby's going to struggle to come through, and actually you're going to lengthen your labour and probably make it feel a little bit more uncomfortable than is necessary. So it's important to engage it, but it's also important to learn to release it during pregnancy, and the release face is the most important thing. So we all know how to draw it up, but remember, it's your diamond. It's not just the P-port, okay? It's the P-port, the pleasure or pain, and the poo-port. All right, so it's the three areas. You've got three connection points here. You've got to wink them before you lift them, but you need to learn to release them. So as you exhale, letting those muscles go. Now I follow a little ditty, which is 10-10-3, no more we, but I advise you do that post-pregnancy, not during the pregnancy. During the pregnancy, just be aware of your pelvic floor. Engage by winking, drawing together each of your ports and lifting it up as you exhale. So we'll try it together. We wink 1, 2, 3, exhale, lift. Deep breath in, exhale, let it go, okay? And really allow it to let it go, because if you let it go during your labour, you'll be able to let it go and allow that baby to come out. Now, how soon should you start doing your pelvic floor post-baby? Well, immediately, really. Initially, I'm not gonna lie, it happened to me, I couldn't feel it. I literally didn't know when I went to the bathroom where it was coming from, because that whole area really does go through a little bit of trauma during labour if you have a vaginal delivery. In my case, I had an episiotomy, so they snipped me, and my daughter decided that she was going to punch through on the other side, so I had a nice little tapestry down there as well, which meant they had to do lots and lots of stitches as well. So for me, kind of starting to connect with my pelvic floor again post-baby was really important. Now mine is kind of one of the extremes. You might have a perfectly wonderful labour, you won't need any episiotomy or any stitches at all, and that's great if you don't, but you still need to start doing your pelvic floor immediately. For me, it was really important that I started as soon as possible. So 10-10-3, no more we. What is that? The first 10 is 10-second hold. So that comes back to the winking, the 3 ports of call, lifting, holding for 10 seconds, and then releasing. And then doing 10 pulses. Okay, you may have heard them called the Kegels. We then, on the 3, go up 3 floors. So we take a breath in. As we exhale, we lift to level 1. We then lift to level 2, and we go into the penthouse as we lift to level 3. At the end of it, we release and let go. My advice is you try and do it at least 3 times a day. The more pelvic floor activation that you are doing, your core is going to start to feel stronger because of it as well. But in the early days, post-baby, the most important thing, the only thing you really should be doing is really your pelvic floor and carrying your baby, particularly for the first couple of weeks. You can then slowly and gradually start to get back into your exercise. Remember, the guidelines are 6 weeks from a normal delivery 12 weeks from a C-section. So pelvic floor is important. Do learn to do it in your pregnancy, but learn to release to help with the labor. Post baby, start doing your pelvic floor as soon as you can. 10-10-3, no more we. Remember that, ladies, it will help you, and it means that in future years you'll be able to bounce around on those trampolines with your little ones again.